Hello everyone, it's Chris. So first of all, we're going to do a test on the Spyder of riding in high wind conditions over tall bridges. As you know, I live in Niagara Falls, and just south of Niagara Falls there are two bridges called the Grand Island bridges, basically that take you over the Niagara River onto and then off of Grand Island. And riding on those bridges on a gusty day, and today is forecasted to be a gusty day, on a two-wheel motorcycle, I've mentioned this before, is absolutely terrifying. So riding on the Spyder, I've done it multiple times on the Spyder, countless times on the Spyder, but I think today's going to be the windiest day, and so it should be a good little test for that. I'm going to talk about that. The other thing is, today is the day. Today is the day I'm taking you to the Griffiths Sculpture Park, and I think you're gonna like it. And lastly, this is the Zoar Valley Road. This is a real cool road to ride on. The twisties and the hills, they really sneak up on you, and you have to take the signs of caution seriously because you could really get jammed up if you're going too fast on this road. But the other thing is, and you may have noticed, but we're in mid-October right now, and so this is fall foliage time of the year for this part of the country. I don't know if you can see it on the GoPro camera, but this is like a series of, of almost like whoop-de-doos hills. In fact, I think this is where I bottomed out once on the Spyder going up this hill. I was probably going a little too fast. So anyway, this should make for some pretty good video. Back to the Grand Island bridges. So those bridges are pretty tall. I don't know how tall they are, and I remember riding over them like on my KTM, before that on my Kawasaki Versus. On anything more than, let's say, 25 miles per hour winds, gusts up to that level, it would literally be, I use the word terrifying because it was terrifying. And the Spyder, because of its stability, it is just not the case at all. You feel the winds, but it's nothing like riding a two-wheel motorcycle. First of all, you've got the three wheels. Second of all, you've got three flat tires. They're like car-like tires. They are not car tires, but they're car-like in that they're flat, unlike a motorcycle, which has a rounded kind of tinge to it, so you can lean on the motorcycle. And third, this thing weighs 1,000 pounds. Now, I know there's some heavy motorcycles out there, and I'm sure if you're riding a Goldwing or one of those big Harleys, it makes it easier riding in gusty conditions. But when you're riding adventure bikes like I rode, or sport tours that weigh 500 pounds, even less than 500 pounds, you get tossed around pretty heavily when the winds are gusty. So today, this morning, I was watching the weather forecast. You can see what I mean about these hills coming up on you quick. And they were saying winds gusting up to 40 miles per hour this afternoon. Now, Hurricane Milton just hit Florida, so 40 miles per hour doesn't sound like much to most of you, but it's a lot when you're riding over a bridge on a motorcycle. And so anyway, we're going to do a good test of the Spyder on windy, gusty conditions. We are now in what's called the Zoar Valley. We've been here before. I cut a cool video back in the summer riding along Cattaraugus Creek here. But we're on our way to the Griffiths Sculpture Park, and this is the most scenic route, or I should say the most fun route to get there. So anyway, when we're heading back to Niagara Falls over the bridges, you'll be with me towards the end of this video, and it should be a good test of real-time, really gusty conditions on this baby on a very tall set of bridges. And speaking of bridges, we are looking for a bridge that'll be coming up on our left that we're going to go over. It's kind of a cool old steel bridge, and I can see it up ahead right here. This bridge is going to take us towards East Otto. We are now crossing the Cattaraugus Creek. East Otto is a little town that we've been through before in another video. I remember because I wanted to show you the town hall, and we're gonna drive right by it, so I'm gonna show it to you again because it's an absolutely cute little town hall. And I'd just like to ask you, as you know, I don't like to ask you to like my videos until after you've seen the videos. I know that's just a common practice in YouTube, but I just don't feel comfortable about it. But I would like to ask you to subscribe, to hit the subscribe button and hit that little bell. I've heard that that really helps small channels like mine. And here it is. Now, I am shooting this video on a Friday, and there's no cars here. I've been here on a weekend when I wouldn't expect to see cars here. I'm beginning to wonder if this is an active town hall, or if this is like the historic town hall. It's not really used as a town hall anymore, and now I'll bet you one of these signs explains it. I'll bet you they've moved, and this is just a relic. I never knew that. Established 1854. So think about that. This town hall was built, and what, 7 years later we're in a civil war. Interesting. Okay, so now we're headed to the Griffith Sculpture Park, and we'll be there in just a few minutes. So I mentioned on a lot of my videos how when a lot of folks think of New York, they think about New York City. But New York is a state, and the great majority of that state, the landmass, is not skyscrapers. It's things like this. It's cornfields. It's hills like the one dead ahead. We're not going to go up that hill. We're going to bear to the right here. But we're in a hilly part of New York. We're in what's called the Southern Tier. And this is New York. New York is the Adirondack Mountains, which we visited in the last, well, 2 videos ago. New York is the Catskill Mountains, which we visited in a couple of videos that I posted earlier, maybe a few videos ago. This is New York, and New York State is just a beautiful place. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this is mid-October, and you can see it's not peak foliage yet. There are some reds popping, there are some yellows popping, but it's not peak yet. I was in the Adirondack Mountains 2 weeks ago, almost 2 weeks ago, and the fall colors were just about to pop. They were more advanced than they are here right now, but the way it works is the fall colors change in that part of New York State a couple of weeks before. You can see in the hillsides there, I hope you can see that, where the reds are popping through, but there's still plenty of greens there on those trees, and those are not evergreen trees there. So as far as the Griffith Sculpture Park goes, there are 2 components to it. There's the main park, and that's where you have to walk, and it's a, I don't want to say an arduous hike, but I'll burn off some calories. I'm going to be hiking for a couple of miles. I'm going to be shooting video on the iPhone. And what I'll do, as I did with my visits to the Adirondack museums, the 2 museums that I visited, at the beginning of the portion where I am now shooting with my iPhone, I'm off the Spyder, I will give you an indication of how long that portion of the video is going to be. So if you just do not want to see the Griffith Sculpture Park for some reason, I think you're going to want to see it, you can kind of fast forward the video to when we're leaving the Griffith Sculpture Park, and here it is right here. But if I were you, I would stay on with me for at least a minute or 2. This won't be long. I will make sure I edit this video as tightly as I can, but there are some parts of this that are just really absolutely terrific, and with the fall foliage, with the fall colors starting to change, it's a beautiful day. It should be cool. Now, what I don't know is whether or not I'm going to dub some music to this video as I'm walking through this place, or if I just like have it be the sounds of, we're doing some off-roading here, or if I just have it be the sounds of the forest. I'll just play that by ear and we'll see how it goes. So what I'm going to do is pick it up with the iPhone, and I think you're going to get a kick out of this place. So if you haven't noticed, this park is basically built on the side of a mountain. And so it's an arduous hike, but it's a pretty primitive place, but it is an incredible place. I hope you got a picture of that and what we've seen so far. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Now, there's another leg of the Griffith Sculpture Park I think I mentioned earlier, and we actually rode by it in a different video early in the summer, I believe. And that's, I don't know if you can see, but there's more sculptures up on the hill there. But this is the main park, but just down the road, and we're about to ride by it, there's another segment to the park where you don't even have to get out of the car. You can just see it driving by. And it should be pretty cool today with the leaves the way they are. We shall see. So we're winding our way up and down the hills to get to this place. Look at the reds there. Wow. Oh. There's a reason why I drive an hour plus from my home in Niagara Falls down here to come riding so often. And it's these hills, these twisties, that just make it so special. I commented when I was in the Adirondacks how cool it must be to live in those kind of mountains. The White Mountains of New Hampshire, the Green Mountains of Vermont, let alone the mountains out west. I can't even imagine how cool that is. But you make the best of what you have, and I'm fortunate, I'm blessed to live just an hour from what I consider to be pretty good riding. Okay, so I can see sculptures up ahead. You probably can't because of the way the GoPro does in terms of distance. You can see a car up ahead. I know you can see that. Oh, here we are. These are up close to the road. Stand up so you can get the best view possible. And there are some way back there. I know you can't see those. So the Griffith Sculpture Park that we just left is that way, on the side of this hill basically, but it's far that way. My guess is you can do this walk, but it'd be a long walk. Isn't that cool? It doesn't go far. I think we're coming up to the last sculpture. Yeah, that might be the last sculpture right there. So now we're going to pick it up when we're crossing the Grand Island bridges. For me, that'll be almost an hour. For you, it'll be less than a minute. Okay, we are approaching the South Grand Island Bridge. Again, the forecast this morning with this morning's weather was winds gusting up to 40 miles per hour, and I can tell you, as we just drove through Buffalo, I could feel it. The winds were kind of light in the southern tier, but you're far away from the lakes there. You're far south of the lakes there. What drives the variability in the weather between this part of the state and just south of us by an hour is Lake Erie. So those winds are coming across Lake Erie, and they're buffeting me around. Now, my microphone that you're listening to me on is inside the helmet, and it's wired to the camera, which is outside the helmet. So what I don't know is if you can hear the buffeting now as we go over. I gotta pass this guy. I do not want to do this, but I'm gonna pass him. I want to be going pretty slow over this bridge in the right-hand lane, but what I don't know is if you'll be able to hear or experience any of the wind. I'm going to shut up when we crest this bridge. I also don't want to get behind this big truck either, but alright, so I'm going to pass this guy, this truck, get in the right lane, and I'm going to try to be quiet, and we'll see if you're able to hear the wind buffeting. And then when we're sloping down the bridge, oh jeez, I've got to get over here. When we're going down this bridge, I'll tell you what I think of the Spyder. Okay, so I don't know if you heard any of that, but it was pretty darn gusty up there. So here's what I'll tell you. Compared to riding on a two-wheel motorcycle, this was a joy. I would have been terrified if I were on my KTM, and quite frankly, I don't think I've ever experienced winds gusting up to 40 miles per hour. And I don't think I would have done it. I think I would have, there's another way, a really circuitous way to get home without going over that bridge. I think I would have done that. But I will tell you this, as smooth as the Spyder is, and you've seen me, I'm going to put this on cruise control right now, you've seen me multiple times show you the steadiness by going like this. I would not do it on that bridge. It was pushing me around. Now, again, 3 wheels, 1,000 pounds, flat tires, it's a dream compared to a two-wheel motorcycle. We're about to hit, in a few miles, the North Grand Island Bridge, which takes us from Grand Island, which is the town we're in right now, over the other side of the Niagara River into the city of Niagara Falls, and I'll give you my report on that bridge in a moment. Okay, so the North Grand Island bridges are up ahead. So I don't know if these bridges are taller than the bridges we just... There's a slight difference in the architecture. These don't have the, I don't know, whatever you call those steel grates above the bridge. So I don't know if this is taller or not, but I'm going to try to get in this right lane here real quick, and we'll see what this is all about. And I'll again go mum. I'll be quiet right now until we get down to the bottom of the bridge. Come on. I've got to stay in the right lane because I'm going right at the bottom of the bridge. So I will tell you, this bridge either is much lower, or the proximity to Lake Erie for the other bridge maybe, because it's much closer to Lake Erie, that south bridge, but the wind buffeting was much less here. Much less here. So again, the conclusion, which you already knew, is the inherent stability on this Spyder is an incredibly reassuring thing in precarious situations, whether it's gusty winds, a narrow bridges like we just rode over. This thing is just a dream. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, please hit the like button. And once again, I'll ask you to subscribe if you don't already subscribe. And if you have anything to say about the Griffith Sculpture Park, the limited fall foliage that we saw, the wind buffeting on the bridge, or anything else regarding the Spyder or anything else, please feel free to comment. And until the next video, which will likely be another fall foliage video, either in a different part of the state or a different part of the southern tier, until that video, you have a great day. Bye-bye.